I know it's not just me who has been going through it recently. I feel like so many of my clients and patients have been going through just major life shifts. I don't know, the world is topsy-turvy and a little bit crazy. And a lot of us have been going through huge shifts right now, whether that be in your finances, could be your marriage, could be your family, you could be moving, you could be going through grief and loss, and there's all types of kind of shakeups going on in the air. And I wanted to share some of the tools that I use personally, because I've been going through it too, to really help me reset my nervous system and to really help to reduce some of the stress and anxiety that's been coming along with it, and to share a little bit deeper about tools that you can use when you're going through a shift in your life. And that can be at any point in time. And again, as we come into the holidays, if you're watching this in real time, this could also be very helpful. So let's dive in. First, I want to share a quote that I think really sums up, this feeling and like what we need to do in order to move through it. And so this one is by Carl Jung, and it's a pretty popular quote, but it says, "Thoroughly unprepared, we take the step into the afternoon of life. Worse still, we take this step with the false presupposition that our truths and our ideals will serve us as hitherto. But we cannot live the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning. For what was great in the morning will be little at evening. And what in the morning was true, at evening will have become a lie." And for me, this just really speaks to the first principle that I kind of talk about, which is like, you got to change your mindset. What you were doing before this life shift or life quake, I like the word life quake, what the ideals and maybe the mental habits and the mindset that you had is no longer going to serve you once you've had this shift or as you're going through this shift. It's almost like there's a separation of kind of who you were before and who you are becoming or who you become on the other side. And part of that is recognizing that you often need to change your mindset. And often that's the base level work we need to be doing as we're going through these types of, changes in our life. So one of the ways that I really rely on, and one of the ways that, tried and true really is meditation. And this is because it, first of all, starts with that base level of awareness that you have to be aware of your thoughts first. And meditation is really good at making you aware of all the crap that's running around in your mind. You sit for, 2-3 minutes, and a lot of people are ready to get up and run out of the room because they're inundated with their own thoughts. But this is part of the work, and this is sometimes one of the crucial steps in gaining some awareness, because we can't actually shift and we can't actually change our mindset if we don't know the thoughts that are running on repeat in our head. Meditation is a great way to really do this and a great way to start to work through this. Journaling is another great option, sometimes just to dump it all out, and then you can read and reflect if you like. But meditation for me is really where it's at. I do have a whole video all about how to work on mindset shifts and how to change your mindset, and videos all about meditation. I will leave that down in the description box below, so you can check those out if you want to dive deeper into the how of things. The next thing that I have been using and leaning a lot on recently has been breath work. And the purpose of this is to really sometimes kind of feel into the emotions you might be having, because a lot comes up when you're shifting. There's a lot that comes up, and it's so easy for us to try to either stuff it down or suppress it, or just to pretend like everything's fine when it is really not fine. You know the meme I'm talking about. Using something like breath work to feel into those emotions, to allow them to come up to the surface, to feel like you're safe enough to explore them, to sit with them, sit into them, feel them. Ask yourself, where do you feel them in your body? As you're doing this work can be really mind-blowing. It can be cause you to have huge step forward and huge progress in kind of working through all this. I don't want to say an emotional breakthrough, but sometimes that's what you need. And sometimes that's what we're trying to do as we're shifting. So in that vein, I'm actually going to host, it'll be either a 6 or 8 week course where I'm going to share with you all the tools that I use personally. So we're going to talk about breath work. We're going to talk about meditation, but we're not just going to talk about, we're going to do it. We're going to sit. I'm going to guide you through it. We're going to work through it. And then we will have Q&A where we get to talk about it. Questions, we get to work through it. It'll be a live course. And I really just want to delve a little bit deeper with you all if you feel called to kind of explore that, because there's just so many of us right now going through these shifts. And like, I feel like we need that community as well to really kind of help us through, to know that you're not alone in dealing with this and that there are tools to really help you kind of move through that. So if you're interested, I will leave a link down in the description bar for a little form that you can fill out, just registering your interest. There's no obligation or anything like that. And this will probably be in the first quarter of 2025. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave that down below. But the next thing that I have been doing more and more of is also yoga. And it's not just as an exercise type modality, although I do love that as well. This is more, again, it's a way to really focus. It's a way to, when you sync your breath with your movement, so a vinyasa-based practice, where you're able to kind of reel your energy back in, because when we're going through it, like, you're pulled in so many different directions, like your attention is everywhere. So using yoga as a way to kind of pull yourself back, give yourself a point of focus by using the breath. And what I also find is that if you can kind of tire out the body and kind of train the body to be a little bit stiller, to be able to sit in these uncomfortable poses sometimes, but still have a nice even breath, there's something about then when you are walking around in your daily life, you're a little calmer, you're a little cooler, and you're a little bit more put together, and you can think a little bit clearer. And also, when you then do go to meditate, it's a little bit easier once you kind of worn the body out. So it's kind of using the body as a end run into the nervous system, which, for me and the type of yoga I've been trained in is that, doing the positions and doing the asanas is really so that you can sit and meditate for longer. And we kind of use the breath as a way into the body. Because if you go ask most people just to sit for, 5 minutes, they're fidgeting around, they can't get comfortable, the thoughts are all over the place. But yoga is one way to help you train into that as well. And again, that's something I will touch on inside that course I've been talking about. And the final thing that I tend to talk about and tend to really work on with clients specifically, and this is from me being a naturopathic doctor and believing in holistic health, is also different supplements, because I tend to use them as a bridge or to bridge the gap when you're going through a rough time. It may be that either you don't want, a particular medication, or maybe there's side effects that you don't want to deal with, or maybe, the medication is just not working anymore. And again, I'm not advocating for you to stop taking your meds. Please talk to your doctor. But sometimes there are a number of supplements when you're feeling just like you're going through the ringer that can either help with the stress, the anxiety, maybe you're not sleeping, all those sorts of things. So there's a lot in there to dig into. And one of the questions I get a lot in a lot of my videos is, can I take this? Should I take this? Should I take that? And often I can't answer because I don't know anything about you. Don't know anything about, what medications you're taking or what else you're on or how you respond to this or respond to that. So I usually am unable to answer those, in this YouTube setting. But what I try to do is to really dive deeper into what is going to be right for you, what is going to fit with you, your nervous system, what stage you're at, and, in this kind of shifting life, are you having more anxiety? Are you having more difficulty sleeping, et cetera, et cetera? Because it really is an individualized thing about which supplements to take. I could see 3 different people for fatigue, but ginseng might not work for all of them, because there is that individualized component. And again, that's something I will be discussing in that course of how to choose the right thing for you, so you're not just guessing and buying, random stuff and having it waste away in your medicine cabinet. So again, my goal with these videos is always to empower you and to give you some actual tools that you can work with and give you a way, into supporting you as you're working through your daily life. And I feel like this whole thing of everybody going through a life shift or a major transition right now and being stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, difficulty sleeping, there's been a lot of that recently. And I'm hoping that this course that I'm developing will be helpful and help you dive a little bit deeper into that, and also allow you some aspect of community at the same time, because that is also really important and part of what I want to build here on YouTube. So if that sings to you, if that calls to you, again, I'll leave a link down in the description box so you can learn a little bit more. Otherwise, if If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below, and I will see you in the next video.